Welcome to Cooking with Heart Foundational Class 3. So can you believe it? We're already in Class 3. We're over halfway through. So exciting. Today we are going to debunk tofu. So I promise you, you don't have to like tofu, but I'm going to really make it a lot more welcoming and less scary. We're going to do wraps, and we have this hoisin-like. I call it hoisin-like because I originally had hoisin in it sauce, and hoisin is really high sodium, and there's really doesn't exist a low sodium. And it's another ingredient that you have to get. So I worked with some ingredients to make it. It's hoisin-like. So, but it's a peanut sauce that's got real good flavor. You'll taste that tonight. Salmon sushi bowl, which is a super easy thing. And it also, just be open-minded here. I know there's somebody in class that likes canned tuna. So you could use canned tuna. I'll talk about that when we get to it. But this uses canned salmon. So it's something you could quickly put together. You could have the canned salmon on hand. So, so we've got lots of great stuff tonight. Next week, we're going to go into two really key concepts, mindful eating, and we're going to do an actual mindful eating exercise. So you'll want to, those at home will want to have a couple bites. Well, actually, it works out really well if you just have 2 raisins or 2 chocolate chips. So, and I will provide for the group here. So we'll do a mindful eating exercise. We'll talk about mindful eating and the importance of that and listening to our hunger and our fullness and connecting with our food. And then another key concept is something that when I did part of my internship at La Costa Spa and Resorts out in Carlsbad, and at that time I thought I was going to go into spa and nutrition, but I kind of learned what their secret, and this, even though that was a number of years ago, it's still something that they employ at spas to help people feel good and lose a couple pounds in a week. And, it's something that we can, I can teach you, and you can use that, incorporate that to get more nutrient density, yet lower the calories so that your body, if weight loss is something that you're wanting. So, and you don't have to count calories. Yay. So that's next week, and we're going to do chocolate. We have 2 delicious chocolate recipes to taste, and we're going to do soups. So we're going to do some soups that are really good, that the basis is vegetables, and I like to say they're a little more complex in flavor. So, and they can be, of course, changed up. So, so we're going to do that. So, okay. Anyone look at their eye level or play around with the things in the refrigerator?
Yeah, I did chopped up some green peppers and carrot sticks, celery.
So cucumber, carrot stick, celery. What's your first name?
Karen.
That's okay. Her name tag is there. So she switched things out. So what'd you find out, Karen?
Yeah, you put it in your refrigerator right eye level, and you're going to be eating healthier, and you'll snack a little bit more.
Yeah.
Even an apple.
Yeah.
I cut up an apple and ate an apple.
Look at that, guys. It works. It works. Give it a try. Just do a test pilot run. So yeah, great.
Definitely.
Play around with what you put there. So it can be different things. That's great. The vegetable sticks, but roasted veggies, like you said, apple. You can have ready to go servings of salads with dressing, or the dressing in little containers right there. But yeah, that's what you want to eat. You want right there at high level. It really works. So other sharings, learnings.
I made the kale salad.
Ooh, okay. How'd that go?
A little bit of rest is in the fridge.
Okay, so you're going to eat it. Did you make it today or yesterday?
Day before that.
Ah.
Is it getting old?
No, it's fine. I have eaten it 4 days. So
okay.
Out. Now, it's probably not what I'd serve to guests at 4 days out, but I eat it. The taste is still there.
Yeah.
So it stands up really, really well.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anything from the audience out yonder? learning, successes, sharings, anything. Well, feel free to jump in at any time and share. So we love hearing everybody benefit. So, okay. A reminder that you are choosing to do this. You have, you're using up Tuesday or Thursday time here. So this is a priority. You're getting to do this. You're learning new things. You're taking baby steps towards better health. So, hey, pat on the back for doing that. You're going to bring yourself more vitality, more energy, more strength. So, and better health. So very, very cool. Okay, so let's review. What are the 4 success principles? What are the 4 things that I say you must have for this to really take hold? So anybody remember back from the first class what any of them was? We gotta flip to the note. That's okay. Hey, that's fine. That's fine. So I've heard people practicing them here. Be open-minded. So, and tonight we're going to be open-minded. So I didn't mention that we're doing seaweed too. So, oh, give it a try, give it a try. So,
Sounds good tonight.
okay, and tofu. So we're going to try something. So we got hoisin-like sauce. So, and you've already tried things out. So that scientist mindset where you're open-minded, you're gonna figure out what are some really great recipes that you love that you can make over and over. Another one, what other ones do you have? Did you get your notes? Did you figure out? Second one is take baby steps. So you guys are doing that, take baby steps. Don't take huge leaps. And don't beat yourself up because you're not moving at the pace that you wanted to. This really works baby steps. And some weeks you're just not going to. That's okay. Holding what you've been doing is huge. So yes, just even looking at your binder, starting to get your mind in the place it needs to be, these kind of things. So third thing, self-compassion. So, don't beat yourself up if things aren't going the way you wanted as fast. So you're on the journey. That's all that counts. That's all that counts. So everything is part of it. Anybody who's achieved any kind of success in life, they know that requires falling down, picking up, falling down, picking up. I mean, people like Michael Jordan, he has, if you read his bio, he has a whole history of failures. So, and those didn't discourage him. So he kept going at it. So, and that's what, this is all about. It's a journey. I'm doing it too. I'm trying things out and celebrating when things like, hey, yeah, you actually were off screens for a whole hour before bedtime. Yes. So, have fun. Have fun is the 4th thing. So find your ways to have fun. You're choosing to do this. You get to do this. It's a mindset thing. And it's also just taking time to figure out what it is that you enjoy about this process. So keeping that in mind, what it's going to bring you. So, okay. A tip that I like to make sure I sneak in is about nonstick pans. A lot of people misunderstand nonstick pans. First of all, nonstick spray started for pans that weren't nonstick. You would spray them and then you could do less oil. We're using nonstick on all pans now, which is fine, but nonstick spray actually breaks down your pans a little bit. I don't mean break down like toxic or anything like that, but it just breaks down the coating quicker. So, and I'm really particular about my pans. It's not that they're super expensive, but I just hate looking for pans. I hate thinking that, this whole thing about what happens in the factories and the water and stuff. So I want my pans to last. So that means I minimize my it's not that I don't use any nonstick, but a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just take a little bit of the olive oil and then take a paper towel and spread it out because you're really trying to seal the pan. That's what you're trying to do when you're trying to make it to like a slick ice skating surface in a sense. So you just need it's not going to be anything that you need to start counting calories or anything, but just wrap it around. And actually sometimes what I'll do is I have a little sponge that I cut like a little square from a regular sponge and put it in a little container and then I'll just throw it in the dishwasher. So I'll just use that because I just kind of like, I'm like, oh, I'm going through a lot of paper towels here. So just some things there. It's not bad. And then I have my son he's atrocious for turning the pan on and letting it sit and go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, this is not high. And you're not, you don't put on high heat. You can put on medium high, but high heat is really only for like boiling water and stuff like that. So that really breaks down. It cooks it too fast. It breaks down the pan really quickly. Okay, so let's go on over to some slides here to share the points about the big deal about plants. What is the big deal about plants? Okay, so what's the big deal about plants? Even in this high-tech age, the low-tech plant continues to be the key to nutrition and health. So, it's a simple message, and we just need to follow that, and we'd have so much better health. Okay, so what does plant focus mean eating to you guys? When you hear that, what do you think? What comes to mind? There's no wrong answers.
Work with
You
plants
include
more.
Go ahead, Tamara.
You include more plants in your diet.
More plants in your diet. Uh-huh. Yep. Joyce, what were you saying?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
plan your meals more around plants,
Uh-huh. Like that.
plant-based, at least include them in a fourth of it or a third of it.
Okay, well, let's jump on over to what that is. You have this chart in your binder. And so what percentage minimum, looking at that chart, would be plants if you were following that? We've got half fruits and vegetables.
70%.
And then we've got
70.
75, yeah. 75 at minimum. It could be 100, but you don't have to. I don't want to, push anybody because we know we can be very healthy and still have some animal protein. So, but quality, I like to say quality proteins over there. So at minimum 75%, at minimum. Now notice there's a food group that you might have grown up with if you learned the 4 or 5 food groups that's not on there. What group is not seen on there?
Dairy.
Yes, dairy. Okay, I'm not anti-dairy, but dairy, we really don't have the research to say that you really need to have that as its own group. You do need to watch out for calcium, vitamin D. We're getting vitamin D fortified anyways. It's not naturally occurring in your dairy products. And dairy, we do find some benefit, but dairy actually is more split as a group. We still have some questions that are unanswered, but it appears that things like milk and yogurt and some of your cultured things can add health. And then your cheeses are a little harder to fit into that. There's things like whey that really help out with blood pressure too. So, it's really complicated, but it doesn't need to be its own food group. Water is the drink that we really want to focus on. You see EVU is there. So yeah, so this is really simple, but this is the way we want to go. Okay, so here's some breakdown when we talk about different kind of eating categories. People like to identify with one. They're lacto-ovo, vegetarian, ovo-vegetarian, flexitarian, pescatarian. So these are really just conversation ways to talk about the different eating kind of patterns. But there's not one you need to stick with. I would say technically I'm a flexitarian. I don't eat meat very often. Like I never am like, oh, I'm going to go out for a steak now. It's more, oh, okay, if my daughter makes meat, I'll have a couple bites. If I go to somebody's to a grill out, I'll probably do a lot of veggies, maybe 1-2 bites. But I'm not going to freak out about 1 or 2 bites here of animal. So, and if there's a pizza, I'll try and pick off the sausage and stuff like that. But I'm not, so, technically I'm probably a flexitarian. So there's all of these categories are easy enough. Some of them you have to pay intentionality to a couple of the nutrients, but all of these can easily be healthy. Okay, so phytonutrients, phytochemicals is a big word that I want you to understand. Phyto, P-H-Y-T-O, means plant in Greek. And I use the word chemicals a lot. Some people like the word nutrients better. The reason I don't like using the word nutrients, even though it sounds a little softer, is because technically the things that I'm talking about aren't nutrients. In other words, you don't need them to grow and maintain life. Okay, they're kind of an extra thing that really helps you be healthier, prevent disease. So, and they're bioactive compounds. That's chemicals. They're natural. They're in the plant. So what are they? So in plants, if you think about plants, they're a seed. They start off as this like pollen or seed, and they take hold and they grow through all kinds of conditions. And they plant down and stay down where they're planted. And they've got, today was a pretty harsh day out there. So they got a lot of, ultraviolet radiation. Some days the pollution is up, car exhausts, there's pests, there's, herbivores that are after them. So they have evolutionarily had to develop their own defense systems. Now, we don't think too often, but we can go inside. So we don't have to worry. We got sunscreen, we got sunglasses, we got umbrellas, raincoats, we've got the police that we can call if there's an intruder. But a plant, they have pests, but they can't, call the police. So what they've done is they've developed some taste, color, smell that helps defend themselves. So all these things really are clues to their defense systems. And most plants, it's in the skin and the stem and things like that have the highest concentration. Not all, but have the highest concentration. So, and, things like taste, like the kale, if you were to eat that raw, think about if you were like a tiny ant and you had a bite of kale. Whoa, that would send a signal. So, and that's what they've developed these so that the pest says, nope, gonna go elsewhere for dinner. So those kind of things really, really help. So, and a lot of the color, the bright color tells us that they have a lot of antioxidants. Antioxidants are things that help quell free radicals. When you have damage in your body, when you get toxins, radiation, free radicals build up. Just healing and taking out the trash, and every day we have a lot of free radicals. And our body develops some antioxidants on its own, but it really doesn't have enough to keep up with not breaking down to chronic disease. So these antioxidants we get from plants help contribute an electron to the free radicals so that they donate this electron without becoming unstable themselves. So they stabilize the free radical and they're stable themselves so that we don't have undesirable actions taking place like mutations in DNA, plaque buildup, the endothelial layer breaking down, things like that. So when we eat plants, we get this stuff. It's really cool. So we get their defense systems when we eat. So they have we've discovered about, about 20,000. There's about 50,000, they think. And like an apple has 400, a carrot 100 that we know of. These things are like, well, of what we can measure so far, we know they have. So coffee has like 1,000. So there's just all kinds, and coffee's a plant. So, but they're all different things. And there's like over 50 antioxidants. So it's not like you just want to get one, like in an orange, we think of vitamin C antioxidant. No. You want to get all kinds. So there's all kinds of processes that they help with in your body. So, so these are really key things. They help preventing cancer, heart disease, dementia. So they're really desirable things, and so many people are missing out by just avoiding plants. Okay, so another thing in plants that's not in animals is fiber. So fiber is something that actually we can't chop, divide up. We can't digest. It doesn't cross into our bloodstream because we don't have the enzyme to break it apart. Cows do, but we don't. So what happens is it actually creates a traffic jam. There's two different major types, soluble and insoluble. And the soluble creates like a traffic jam like oatmeal. If you think of oatmeal, and if if you've added, blueberries to your oatmeal or walnuts, it still is a glob, right? It still is pretty thick. So that's kind of like with your meal with a lot of fiber, you create this glob. And so it takes a little bit in your small intestine to break things down and release it to your bloodstream, which is good because it keeps you full longer, keeps your body occupied, and your blood sugar rises slower. So it's really good. And even if you're not concerned about your blood sugar, there's plenty of reasons that you don't want spiking up and down, even if you're keeping in the normal range. So those are great things. Plus, the fiber then travels into your large intestine because, again, we don't digest it. So it keeps going while these other things are breaking down and being crossed into your bloodstream. So it goes into the large intestine where you have trillions of bacteria. So, and you really think of like a garden in your large intestine. You want to grow the bacteria that are beautiful and keep you healthy. So that means feeding it fiber, plants, a variety. We find diversity is a big thing that you want. There's some kind of challenges where you try and get 30 different plants and herbs a week. And then you've got a really diverse gut biome. But if you're not having plants, and you're having processed food, then you're not feeding these bacteria. You'll still have bacteria, but you're growing bacteria that are really more like weeds. So they're not helping you stay healthy. And there's we're finding more and more, a lot of communication. We think of our mind up here in our brain between, the eyes and things, but there's communication and there's thinking brain in a way going on with your bacteria. And 70% of your immune system is your bacteria in your gut. So it's actually not stuff in your body. It's actually in your gut. So that passes on to there, grows your garden there. Plus the fiber captures bile in the large intestine. Bile helps break down fat. You're probably like, so what? I'm not eating a lot of fat anymore. Well, you do have bile, even if you're not eating a lot of fat. And what happens is you grab onto the bile and you excrete it out in the large intestine. And why that's good is because the liver is responsible for making bile. And then the liver recognizes that you're low on bile and it says, oh, we gotta make some bile. We need to have that on hand. And so then your liver will go and grab LDL, cholesterol, because part of bile is cholesterol from your bloodstream. So it's one of those ways for years and years that's kept your bloodstream in balance, the LDLs. So when we cut out the fiber, we don't have that going on. So again, we're more likely to have out of balance LDL. So those are just some things. There's just all kinds of things that happen from fiber. So I kind of like to think of it like a sponge. I'll show you guys off camera. Well, you can see me there, it looks like. So I've got the sponge here. I think of the soluble fiber kind of like the spongy part of this, and it sucks up the water and holds on to a glob. And then this is the insoluble fiber. And what that does, it doesn't make a gel, but it helps scrape. It actually is really good at scraping the sides of your small intestine and your large intestine. And what that does, think about it, it makes, first of all, it stimulates your intestines to move, to work out. And so if you don't use it, you lose it. Same thing with your intestines, guys. And why do you want your intestines to move? Well, you want to move the food through. You want to move your stool through, because you're going to get constipation if you don't move that through. So it also helps keep things moving, because the longer things kind of just stay stagnant, trouble can brew. So those are really good things. You want about 25 grams or more. Our ancestors supposedly had more like 75 grams a day. So they were eating a lot of plants. So just some things to think about. Okay. Some other things, plant has things called nitrites that convert in your mouth to nitrates. that then in your body precipitate nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what relaxes the lining of your arteries so that you can get this nice elastic artery. It also helps in other places keep your blood pressure down. So nitric oxide is really good. So by having high potassium foods and nitrate, it's really good for your blood pressure. So oxidative stress is really good for your arteries too. So we have those free radicals. Okay, so looking at nutrients. So protein is one that a lot of people are like, I'm not sure I'm getting enough. Trust me, if you are eating whole food, it's when you get into the processed junk that's vegetarian, plant-based, that you could be missing out on some nutrient. Now I'm going to highlight some nutrients, but protein-wise, if you're having nuts, edamame, tofu, soy milk, things like that, you're getting plenty. Okay, I don't worry about that. So really, if you're getting all these things, different dishes, you're going to get plenty. So we usually get more than what we need for the most part, way more actually. Balancing the nutrients, some that we want to pay attention to, especially if you're a vegan. Vitamin B12 is one of those funky ones. Nutritional yeast is very high in vitamin B12. So if you're eating a lot of nutritional yeast, I just take a vitamin B12 supplement. I did ask my doctor to do a blood test, but it's so cheap to take a supplement. She's like, no, just take the supplement. I'm like, oh, it's not the way I like to do it. So, but vitamin D, I did have her take a blood test, because vitamin D is one of those things that even if you take a supplement, we just don't know if it's really going up enough or if it's going away. And it's not dangerous to go high, but it's one of those things that everybody's a little different in when they supplement. So typically you're going to want to ask your doctor. I had to actually ask one doctor a couple years ago when they did a big panel. I was like, vitamin D is not on here, guys. And they're like, oh, okay, go back in. So, vitamin D really you should have that taken every couple years. Vitamin D is very hard to get. We don't really have any foods that are high in vitamin D except for mushrooms. And then cod liver oil. So if you live in Norway, we tend to find that you have a lot, but sun is the only way. But the problem is here in the winters, it's impossible to get enough vitamin D. And so many of us are like covering ourselves up and hiding indoors in the summer months that we're not even getting enough in the summer months. So you have to be so far above the equator. And we're ruled out in the winter months here. So vitamin D is one of those. My doctor then did have me take a 5,000 IU supplement for a while. Then I had it retaken. It was much better. And I'm now on like a 1,000 a supplement a day. So look at that. Make sure your supplements are USP certified or NSF. NSF is usually a little more expensive because it's in the sports industry. USF, these are certified by companies that have them tested, like randomly tested. The fraud is rampant, like more than 90% in the supplement industry, guys, more than 90%, because it's not regulated, zero regulated, and it never will be, because it's, one of the top lobby unions. So lobby groups. So calcium is one that you want to pay attention to. It's very easy through some of your dark green vegetables, and then looking at some of your milk, your plant milks that are high in calcium to get, and some of your nuts, but it could be something that you may be missing out a little bit on. Iron is another one possibly, but I don't see it too often with people that are conscientious about eating whole foods and a lot of vegetables and fruits. So, but these are some things to watch for, especially as you're transitioning to whole food. Okay. So looking at the milk alternatives, we've got oat milk, soy milk, almond milk, rice milk, all these. So what are the ups and downs of them? So first, coconut milk, big no. Okay. It's just romantic or something tropical but coconut milk has 5 grams of saturated fat per cup. Okay. Dairy, whole milk has 4.5. So it beats out whole milk. So, and I'd rather have you have whole milk for other reasons too, if you're going to choose. I'm not going to push you on whole milk, but rice milk is horrible for protein and calcium. So, almond milk, not so great for protein either. So read the label and make sure if you're assuming this is a substitute for your calcium or your protein. Soy milk tends to be much better in protein. You have to look to see if it's fortified with calcium. Tofu is actually high in calcium, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But soy milk, here's the thing with some of the milks. They are a little more processed than I think most people are assuming they are. Look at the ingredient list. It's a paragraph. Okay. And that doesn't mean it's bad, but it means like, did you know that it's not just soy? It's, or almond. There's other things when it's made it through the grocery store processing. Now, if you're buying it at like a health food store, sometimes they do have providers that are, they're actually just almond milk or soy milk. Trader Joe's has a UHT. I didn't bring it because I use it. They have a UHT. UHT is where it's not refrigerated until you open it. It's like Europe. So, and the nice thing is Trader Joe's has like smaller cartons than that big one that you get in the grocery store. So I will go up to Iowa City and get like 6 cartons. They're good for like 4 or 5 months. So you can just store them. But the nice thing is it's just soy milk. It's made from soybeans. That's it. There's not the paragraph. Okay. So, and even the unsweetened refrigerated in Hy-Vee and Walmart, they are going to have a paragraph, guys, of different gums and things that are added to it, even though it's unsweetened. So just, it's not horrible, but I just want you to be in the know. Walmart does have, they hide in the chip or cracker aisle on the bottom shelf, UHT milks, rice, almond, and soy. They're about $5, but they're super large. So we do have them available here. I don't know if like Fresh Thyme does. I've never seen it at Hy-Vee, but I'm just saying these are choices. If you're going to do it, this is, it's nice because you don't have to put it in the refrigerator. So until you want to use it. So it is pretty big, the ones at Walmart. I do use that occasionally, but we usually have some cow's milk too in the refrigerator for the kids. So I have my soy milk there that I use for my oatmeal and such. Okay, organic versus conventional. Okay, this is a big hot topic, okay? So bottom line is eat fruit and vegetables. I don't care which column they come from, okay? It's really kind of silly. First of all, that's the first overall message, okay? I don't care what you can tell me about pesticides. It's still way better to be eating fruits and vegetables than avoiding them. And I've heard some of these scare tactics on your, middle of the morning television programs. And then I'll hear somebody say, they are on the Dirty Dozen. Okay. All those on the Dirty Dozen pass our EPA by far, not even close. There's no real standard way. This was done as a nice kind of article trick done a couple years, 10 years or so ago, and they've just repeated it, but they don't have a nice systematic way. I'm not saying that strawberries aren't higher on having pesticides, but it doesn't mean it's high. It just means when they picked all those fruits and vegetables, it came out the highest. Now, organic doesn't actually mean it doesn't have any. I'm not trying to beat up organic. First of all, it's well-intentioned, but there's a lot of problems with because everything's regulated and then the people find holes in it. So, I was reading the other day about the manure that's used for the organic. It's like, there's a problem if it's coming from the chicken feeds and then there's a certain limit that organic farmers can use with pests at certain stages. And I'm not saying that they don't end up with beautiful, wonderfully nutrient-rich fruits and vegetables, but you're fooling yourself if you think that clearly the Dirty Dozen is horrible for you and the Clean 15 is like this miraculous kind of heavenly fruits and vegetables. We can at certain levels find it in both columns. So, do I buy organic? For the most part, no. Okay, because I look at the price. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I'm trying to save money just like anybody else. Okay. And I tell my kids, food budget's one of the easiest ways. You gotta cut back. So, strawberries every once in a while I might, but, the best thing I really like to do is go farmer's market. if I really want to be conscientious about this, I try and make a couple trips. Now, I don't always make it. I have my systems. I go to Walmart, Aldi's, that kind of thing. But we have beautiful farmers market. We actually have 3 in the Quad Cities, Bettendorf, Davenport, and Rock Island. Rock Island one, I like the best, honestly. It's on the small side, but every vendor there is vetted. They have to be the ones growing what they're saying. And there's a certain, I couldn't find, but I've verbally talked with one of the one in charge, and it's like 25 miles around the area they have to be growing from. So, and there you can talk with them. You can say, how do I store this? And they'll know. They know inside and out. I remember last summer they had beautiful like mini pumpkin eggplants. They were round. I was like, oh, wow, these are beautiful. I've never seen eggplant like this. And she's like, it makes the best eggplant parmesan. I'm like, oh, well, how would you make that? Well, I wrote down what she said, went back and made it, and it was beautiful. So, it's that kind of conversations. It takes a little time. So you got to remember to bring your bags, and they do like cash. Not all of them always have credit card vendors. I mean, these are small mom and pop places there. So Davenport's a little more seasoned, let's just say. So it's kind of morphed into a different entertainment. I'm not against it, but I do have trouble when I go there for fruits and vegetables, finding the fruit and vegetable stands. So you got to go through the whole thing to find them. I'm like, come on, where are the vegetables? So, and I need to get to the Bettendorf one. So that one's on Thursdays. So I just haven't got that into my schedule. So that's what I'd recommend over getting crazy, fearful of these. So, okay. How do we eat more plants? Bottom line, because we want to eat them. They're great for us. So, and also I do want to say farmers market, a lot of times you will get fruits and vegetables. They taste different, guys. One of my kind of sad things about our supply that we have now, all these fruits and vegetables all year round, is that you're not tasting like locally homegrown, ripened, right off the vine fruits and vegetables. Broccoli is, it's night and day from what you get in the grocery store. Do you guys remember maybe when you had gardens years ago, just picking these things off? Tomatoes, my bruschetta, when I make bruschetta now, I have to add, guys, a teeny bit of sugar, because the tomatoes are not as sweet as they used to be. It used to be you could make a bruschetta and it was just naturally sweet. But these tomatoes are shipped refrigerated, which turns them actually starchy. Okay, if I haven't told you that, remember that. Tomatoes don't go in the refrigerator, guys. When they're put in cold, they turn to starch. So the tomatoes are just, they're doomed. So when we get them in the grocery store, I use them all the time, and I do love the grape ones. But I'm just saying, it's very different when you get a homegrown garden vegetable. So, and I really wish schools would grow them so kids could actually see them and taste them right off the vine. Okay, so here I've got 6 strategies. Just think about which one maybe like, oh, that one would work for me. Okay, so don't try all 6. So the first one is start thinking about your dinner meal. Instead of thinking about the meat, think about, hey, making the star of the meal the vegetable. Okay, so Dijon kale salad, pesto, bruschetta, things like that. Okay, so we're having roasted vegetable pasta tonight. Or so instead of thinking, we tend to think, chicken or burger kind of thing. So we've just done that for years and years, but we can switch that over. So, sweet cauliflower salad, and next week we're going to have brighten your day soup. Really good. So see if you can make that the star. Then we talked about this last week. Looking at, are you stocking your kitchen with foods that you can easily throw something together? Something like an omelet. When I make an omelet, I usually do like 3 egg whites, maybe 1 full egg, maybe 2 egg whites, 1 full egg. And then I fill it with vegetables. It's delicious. Whatever I have around, maybe a little pesto, a little bit of marinara, tomato paste. but I have things. I never know what it's going to look like. On Friday, we usually do pizza night. Now, it's not pizza from Domino's, guys. Okay, so don't freak out. So I do a baboli or a cauliflower, or we have different ones we rotate. It's something that the kids, we get together and we do a game night. But on mine, I never have cheese. I have spinach, roasted veggies, roasted Brussels sprouts, so all these things that I'm throwing together, roasted sweet potatoes. So, and it's delicious. So a little bit of the balsamic, reduced balsamic, and avocado. After it comes out, I'll put a sliced avocado and then put a little reduced balsamic. It's delicious. But I have these things on hand. I never know. Friday is kind of a good day for whatever we have left. So do you have stuff so you can play around like that? Can you start building that up? Okay. Veggianize your favorite things. So this is just starting to add more veggies, bulking up things like chili. Can you take down the meat, add in more beans, add in maybe mushrooms, soya, we're going to talk about in a second. More in your stir fries. Can you start making stir fries with edamame, tofu, or at least, a lot less whatever is, the animal meat, or maybe a little bit of tiny shrimp or something, but just start adding more veggies to it. Nutritional yeast in your binder for the bonus recipes, because once upon a time this class was 6 classes long, but I couldn't get people to sign up for it. They're like, that's 6 classes. But of course, once people sign up, they're like, can we keep going? But so I gave you the recipes. So, and one of my favorite ones is what was I talking about? I'm thinking pesto. The pesto, nutritional yeast. And I use that. And a lot of times, like the kale salad, I'll make that on Sunday and I have leftover kale. I'm like, I don't, 7 cups of kale chopped up. You don't need the whole bunch. Well, what I'll do is I'll make pesto with it. Maybe I don't have basil. If you look at the recipe, it uses basil and kale. Hey, I've made it without the basil, just substitute kale. It's fine. So it's basically kale, garlic, and Parmesan cheese, not Parmesan, and I substitute nutritional yeast and EVOO. So, and then I have, let me see, where is it? I know I saw it somewhere because I was like, where did that go? Oh, yes, it's up here. I'll show you guys I think you guys can see me. So here, this is an ice cube tray. I love it because it's super small. So I do my pesto after I have a meal, then I put it in here and then I just punch these out and put them in a baggie and I have in the freezer. And I add pesto. It's just delicious to add to a lot of different things, guys, if you need to add some pizzazz to something. So, just again, having things around. So, okay. Smoothie bags or jars, you can put those together, have those ready to go. Sometimes there's like one ingredient you'll add when you put it in the refrigerator. You can batch cook hummus. I mean, if you make hummus, it is nothing like the hummus we're gonna have tonight. Sorry, but if you can go to a Mediterranean restaurant, I went to one in Chicago. We all want to go back. It was so good, the hummus. So it's just so good. So you can steam cauliflower and, blanch it, put it in cold water and then eat it throughout the week and different things, roasting the veggies. So those are different things that you can do. Or for bulking, sorry, I'm on the next one. For bulking, doing bulk prep. So bulk prep, I've gotten to the point, I'm telling you guys, I'm always like adding and switching up and improving on. And on the weekend, there's a couple things I do. I do my roasted veggies. Which is usually different peppers, onions, and mushrooms, a lot of mushrooms. I love mushrooms. And then I make one salad that's a bulk salad, like the kale salad. I have about 7 different ones that I rotate through. That'll last me 3-4 days, maybe 5, but usually a strong 4. And then my scallions, I'll tell you the trick about the scallion. I told you the trick about the scallions, the Parmesan shaker. Did I not? Okay, I did. So I have that, I refill that. My flaxseed for my oatmeal, I make sure that's ground up and ready to go. The cocoa is filled and it's cacao that I actually have switched to cacao, which has more polyphenols than cocoa that I use in my my oatmeal. So all these things, I just get myself ready for the week. So it's so easy. And a couple mornings, I actually put all my toppings for my oatmeal in a little container. Because if I know like I need to be here at 7:30, that's really early for me. So I know it's like just throw it in the microwave and go. So I like a little more time. 8:30 is better for me. Um, so just thinking about all those things that you could do for bulk prep. So, okay. And then, do you want to just try out one meal 3 times a week? That's all vegetables, plants. You could start with breakfast. You could start with lunch. You can do frittata at breakfast. You can do chia pudding at breakfast, overnight oats at breakfast. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Lunch, there's wraps. We're going to do wraps today. There's salads, there's bowls, evenings, there are a lot of things, but you don't have to do it. But just start, again, what sounds exciting to you? What sounds the easiest way to start really bulking up on plants? Okay, so sneaking in plants wherever you can, just, you can sneak in spinach a lot of times, and the recipe will not be affected one bit. Soups, there's a lot you can do there, even adding nuts in there. There's just, just thinking about the recipe. What can I add to add flavor and texture and more plants? So, okay. So action steps, looking here, I'm going to show you rice paper. We're going to do those, so you might want to keep that as a maybe. Look for a more robust vegetable to have on hand throughout the week, something that you could prep. They're roasting vegetables or making a salad. Some of my salads I can toss the dressing on, and some of them I have little containers that I just stack. And I'll just grab the container of the dressing and then the salad, because sometimes when you put the dressing on, it just gets a little over soggy by day 3. The green onions chopped up in the empty container, like I said. Tonight, for my son, he's having a quinoa burger. That's from the diabetes class last night. He doesn't know it was left over from that, but he's getting that. Plus, I made him a spinach salad really quick this morning. Spinach, blueberries, and the scallions sprinkled on top, and some walnuts. That's it. Okay. He'll figure it out. He's 19. So, but so easy to do that. And this morning I chopped him up, and kiwi, and what else was there? Oh, nectarine. So it was delicious. I was eating half the nectarine while I was chopping it up. But just, I had those on hand. They were ripe and they looked beautiful on the plate. And I noticed when I stopped by later, he had already eaten them all. Try recipe from class, bulk prep, something. So just try it out. It's not going to necessarily be spot on, but you'll learn a lot. Just like anything else in life, you just got to get out there and do it and figure out what you want to do different the next time. So, okay. Let's get off of here. There we go. Yeah, I want to get off. There we go. It's back. Okay. So what?
She's at the beach.
Yes, you're at the beach, Tamara. We're jealous. You look beautiful there.
Not
So-
really, it's just the background. It's
Yeah.
just the
Aw.
background I picked.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay. So, and again, I don't know if you could see there, but here's my, I have all different actually ice cube trays. I've got regular ice cube. I've got this, and I've actually got half cup ice cube trays that you can punch out. So I just find it's really useful. So I'm trying to think. Yes, the quinoa burgers actually that were left from diabetes class, I froze those. That's going to be, I have some that will be a whole meal next week. So, just thinking about this, what can you just put in the freezer so it's ready to grab, makes it easy. Here's a sponge, again, soluble fiber sucking up, holding a gunk. That's helpful for blood sugar control. And then scraping the sides of your colon to keep things moving and keep your muscles in shape. So awesome. Okay. So, I want to share, if you were to eat a whole plant food based day, you would feel full sooner. So you would end up eating less food, and you would have energy longer throughout the day. Just one day of all day eating things that are high in fiber, plant-based. So in a week, if you keep with that for a week, you're going to have better mood, most likely, more energy, because you're not eating the processed food. You're getting the fiber that's the 3 layers. It's not stripped like the processed. Your productivity is going to go up because you're going to feel more of energy. You're going to have more of those phytochemicals. You're going to sustain your energy longer, better blood sugars just from 1 week. You're going to get more diverse bacteria. You can actually get that in 1 day. And within a few weeks, your cholesterol is going to start dropping. Your LDL and your HDL going up. Your blood pressure is going to improve from the fruits and vegetables, the more potassium in there. Your salt also going down. Some people find they sleep better because plants have tryptophan in them that regulate sleep hormones. In a month, on average, most people, without even trying, when they go whole food plant-based, they lose 4.4 pounds. So these are things just without trying. I'm really an advocate of focusing on the habits and not so much on where your body is on the scale. So, okay. Oh, I just put away my nice little, the order of things. Let me see here. I had a list here. There we go. Okay, we're going to start with the Colliard wraps. So any questions as I get started here? Okay. So Colliard wrap. Colliard is actually cruciferous. So it's up there with kale. So it's got some bitterness to it. Has anybody have a recipe they've done with Colliard? It's in the store. You may not have seen it. It's usually there, Hy-Vee and Walmart. So here I've got a couple of them. I already blanched a couple. Oh, which reminds me, let me get the water going for blanching. So to blanch the Colliard, and let's see, we're doing okay on time there. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on to get boiling water in my skillet. Oh, and I need to change my camera too. So, okay, let me change my camera here. Okay, so here's what the Colliard leaf looks like. So sometimes they can be like pretty close to elephant ear. So they're all different sizes. They can be smaller sometimes too. So, but this, just like kale, it's the stem that is particularly bitter. So, and also if we're going to make a wrap, it's going to be difficult with that stem to roll it up. So there's an easy fix to that. We're just going to cut off a bulk of the stem. Now we're not going to cut off the stem per se, but we're going to break its spine. Now you can take a paring knife, and the back of it is the higher part of the rib there of the stem. And you can take you'll see some instructions to like get the paring knife off. That's fine. But I prefer to just actually break the spine. So you just take the thick part of your knife, put it there, and just break it. So now it's a little more able to roll. We're going to blanch it for 30 seconds here in the boiling water, and that will do a couple things. It'll soften it. It'll take a little bit of the bitterness out. It'll also make it darker green, again, popping the air so that it's a more vibrant green. So once that boils, it's about boiling there. So I'm going to do this one there too. And so it's the back side that the stem is sticking out there. So you're just going to do that. So there we go. And I'm just going to put that, both those can go in the same time. And we're just going to do that for like 30 seconds. Just get them. I might flip them over to make sure both sides are done. Now, when you're blanching, doing the 30 seconds here, keep it close to 30 seconds. If you go to a minute, you're probably okay. But if you go to like 11 minutes, that might be overdone. So I'm just saying, I know how it is when you're doing stuff at home, you're multitasking. So, but when you blanch, part of the key to blanching is to cook real quickly and then stop the cooking. So we're going to put it in an ice or cold water. Get your coldest water if you don't have ice to stop the cooking. And so once you throw it in here, you can start, you can go do the laundry, that kind of thing. Blanching is just a cool thing. Blanching is actually what a lot of restaurants that actually use fresh, vegetables, produce, they will blanch in the morning, and they'll just real quickly, lightly cook it. Then they'll stop it in ice water. And that's how they get things out quicker. Okay. When it comes time for the dinner, they do that. And that's something that, because what blanching does is, of course, it gets you ahead on time wise. But when you do the quick heating, you're actually killing some of the enzymes that make the produce go bad. You know, if you think about it, flash freezing, when we freeze things in the freezer, you know, the manufacturers, they basically back the truck up to the field, pick it, and then they flash cook it, freeze it. So because they're killing the enzyme that's gonna make their produce go bad sooner. So there we go. We're just gonna take that and put that in there. And just let that cool down and stop. So, and the cool thing is, Colliard wraps can be a bulk prep. So I did these yesterday. So I had some time yesterday. I'm like, oh, let me just go ahead and do the Colliard wraps. So, and I just put paper towel. You can put parchment between them. But you see here, this is a finished Colliard wrap. So we can roll that and wrap that there. So you could do 3, 4, 5, 6 for the week for lunches or something like that if you wanted to, and these would be fine. So we're going to make a sauce, the hoisin-like sauce to go with this. So let me grab my ingredients here. Now I'm trying to think, is anybody allergic to peanut butter? Peanuts. Okay, I think it's in the other class. I have somebody. So, okay, we're just going to, this is a fun, I know it has some ingredients that you may not have on hand. So they keep for a long time. You can buy the Thai, you just need some sweet chili sauce. It doesn't have to be exactly this. You want sweet with chili. And then the Asian kind of genre, they have a lot of different options. You just need something. So, you know, find your smallest container for that. So we're just using a couple teaspoons of that. And I'm actually making, I think I'm making 8 times it. I think I am. I always make a bunch of this because I put this in a squeeze bottle or a little mason jar with a lid and put it in my refrigerator. And I'll just shake it up before I use it. But I use it on top of my tofu. I use it in wraps. I use it just, oh, I want a little more zing to this. So we're going to have, there's the coconut aminos. So here's that. So Bragg's is the only one in Hy-Vee. A lady in my other class, bless her, she's trying to find the Coconut Secret is the blue brand. I don't know if I think we have it over there, but the Hy-Vee hasn't been carrying it. They've been carrying it, the blue brand Coconut Secret, like wasabi, or, you know, they have all these like flavorings. I'm like, no, I just want coconut liquid aminos. Okay, now let me square away because this can get very confusing. It confused me. When you go to the store in Bragg's, you're going to find 2 options: liquid aminos. Okay, it sounds like some weightlifting supplement to me. So, and then you're going to find coconut liquid aminos. The one that's lowest in salt is the coconut liquid aminos. Okay, so just so you know, try and make sure you're getting the coconut liquid aminos. Now, if they don't have it, the liquid aminos is still far less than soy sauce. So, you know, that's what we're trying to imitate and not get the sodium. Peanut butter. So I'm just using regular peanut butter. If you have old fashioned, that's fine. That's great. I just don't want, if you're not going to go through old fashioned, I don't want you to have to get that. So we've got some honey in order to make the kind of hoisin-like flavoring. You can use molasses or honey, because if you've ever had hoisin sauce, it's got a sweet, spicy, and complex flavor. So I added some smoked paprika to help make up for that kind of complex flavor. I love smoked paprika. There's some ginger in there too. So that should get us to our flavoring. Oh, the water. And then the water is just to thin it out so that we just give a little flavoring of it. So I'm just going to stir that a little bit here with the spoon, and then I'll go to the whisk. Here, let's see. Whisk. Usually it works just fine, the whisk. I just don't want to spill. Here we go. You can shake it up in a jar too. There we go. I'm making a mess. There we go. Okay. There's our sauce, our poison like peanut sauce, yum yum. So then I want to get the other wrap ingredients so we can do a wrap. So that would be, we're gonna put matchsticks of different things in here. So, oops, oh, that's fine. Okay, so I've got carrots, cucumber, you don't have to have all these, and I've got the pepper. So I want to go over real quickly how to do the pepper. The pepper it's real simple how to cut one. Just think of it like a box first, like this. And we're going to take off the top and the bottom. Okay, so that's the first thing for doing a pepper, top and bottom. It works with like 95% of peppers. So now we're going to set that box up, okay? And we want to open this box. So we're going to go down the side. Okay, did you see that at home? You just went down the side. And now I'm going to open her up. Open up my box, okay? So next, I want to just think about, now I know it's tempting to go, oh, I just need to get out this, this, this. Okay, that true. But the safest and easiest way I find is just think, I'm just going to take this knife along this straight, just best I can. Just use this edge here and just keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Catch it, catch it, catch. You're going to catch all of it. So you catch all of it as you just keep it flat there. So now I've got flat, pretty flat there. And now I'm going to flip it over and then I'm going to get it flat, really get it flat. And now I've got a piece that I can easily put whatever size I want. So if I'm roasting, I usually do thicker slices because roasting shrinks down a lot. But for this, like the matchstick, I'm going to do something like this. So I do the thin ones for the wraps. So that's how you do a pepper. So you can easily do, 4, 8 peppers in like 5 minutes, guys. So once you do that, top, bottom, open up the side and just level it out. Okay. So cucumber. So we peel the cucumber and just like carrot, you want to work with something that's workable. Mother Nature didn't make everything the same size. So a chunk about this, don't try and do a carrot like this and then try and do matchsticks. You're not going to be able to use the knife to guide it and all that. So I like to get chunks when I'm working with things about this height as the most. So the first cut is going to be the most dangerous. So I hold it and I'm going to over close to the edge there, just cut down, and then I can roll it. Now I've got an edge that I can work with. So now I'm going to go close to the edge, roll it, close to the edge, roll it. And now I've got all 4. So I can just go down and do my matchsticks. There we go. And I'm just going to stack a couple. You don't need to show off and stack them all fully on top of each other. Just get them there, hold it, and go down. So there we go. We've got our matchsticks there for the cucumber. The cucumber is nice because it adds moisture. So, but if you're going to have a wrap that you're going to have for you make it at 7 o'clock and you're going to eat it till like 3 o'clock, you might not want to put in the cucumber. So basically it's the same way that you do for a carrot that we did for that, chunks like that. Hold the first one, get the side next to it, roll it, and then matchstick. So I've got some mint here and I've got some scallions here. So the scallions, remember, we store those with a damp paper towel here, and we cut off the tops and make sure we use the green parts there because those have the chlorophyll in there. So I think we're ready to assemble. We've got the hummus. Let me grab some avocado. Okay, let's roll. So let's grab one of these. So I'm going to take the hummus and we're just going to kind of do burrito style here with this. So we're just going to put a little bit right there, not all the way there. We've got to use that to roll it and not all the way to the edge. Just like that will work. And then I'm going to put my sticks, just a couple of each of these here. Maybe a red one and maybe some, let's get some of the cucumber here. then some scallions, some mint. And then I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of this. And then I'll put a little bit of the avocado. Okay, so to roll this, I'm going to take the ends over and take this up. And roll that. And you can keep it like this, or I'm just going to cut it right there on the spine and show you the inside there. So look at that. So Collard wrap. So it's delicious. Everything about it is vegetable. So really nice. So you'll be able to make one. I want to show you a rice wrapper as an alternative. So, and now you're probably thinking, well, why isn't she talking about flour, whole wheat? Well, here's the thing. I want you to start thinking outside the box a little bit. Your flour tortillas usually are, if you get like a burrito size, they're like 240 calories each, 30 grams of carb or something like that. So, and if you look at the ingredient list, you know, it's a good sized paragraph. So it's processed. So, you know, you don't see the whole wheat in this. I mean, in a flour tortilla. So, and it's contributing quite a bit of carb and not much fiber. So it's more than what I call a carrier is what happens with a tortilla. It's not that you can't do a tortilla. I have tortillas in my house. I don't use them too often, but I do. I just want you to start thinking other things, but if you're not ready, that's fine. If it's a great way for you to get more vegetables in, then go ahead. Over time, maybe you'll start finding and playing around some other things. Now, as far as tortillas go, one of the better of the choices that you have is this one. This is by Tomorrow's. You can find it at Hy-Vee. You can't find it at Walmart. It's usually pretty well hidden at Hy-Vee. Many people that work there don't know they have it. So ask. It's usually in the health food section somewhere. But it's 60 calories, 7 grams of fiber, 12 grams of carb. It does have 105 milligrams of sodium. A lot of people don't realize that bread products have a lot of sodium because that starts to add up. Just one. I know that sounds great, 7 grams of protein. I love that, but it's also because they've added a lot of ingredients just to get that number up there too. And it's not that it's not going to help you, but this is not the same as a whole food. That's that, because I just want you to be clear there. So, so another alternative is rice wrapper, and this is available super inexpensive, both Hy-Vee and Walmart. So you might have to search a little bit. Hy-Vee likes to change around where they have it. The Rock Island one, it's in the bottom shelf with all the kind of Asian jar sauces, soy sauce, hoisin, Thai garlic, that stuff. At Walmart, it's on the top shelf in the Asian stuff. So this looks like, to me, like a communion wafer, okay? So it's just this. The cool thing about this is the ingredient list is just this: rice flour, tapioca flour, water, salt. That's it. So this is much less processed than that. Okay, even though this does stay a while. So, and I think, I mean, it's not like full of fiber. I don't think it has any fiber. 2 wrappers is 60 calories, so it's half of what 1 wrapper is there. Yeah, it doesn't say any fiber. So, but it is what I consider a carrier for what's inside. Now you can't do the same thing I just did here. This is a little more delicate. What you do is watch. I'm going to go over to the sink. I don't know if you can see, but I'm just going to go over the sink and run it over the top and run over the bottom. So. Yeah. And then watch. It's going to become more flexible. You can see already it's more flexible. So it's more delicate. It can't carry the weight of like the hummus. It can carry lightweight veggies. So you'll see these like sometimes in like a Korean restaurant, a spring roll, possibly. Sometimes they do have a more of a tortilla-ish wrapper. But what they'll put inside are usually like vegetables, sometimes cabbage, and they'll put like shrimp, sometimes mini shrimp, sometimes pork. They'll put mint, basil, but they won't put any sauce typically on the inside because it just won't hold up. But they'll dip it in a sauce, so you can dip it in the hoisin sauce, or you can dip it in the hummus. You also a lot of times they'll dip it in like in a Korean restaurant, they'll dip it in like soy sauce, rice vinegar, garlic, lime, something like that. So you could use the Bragg's and do something like that just to dip it a little bit in as you eat it. So be creative. So I'm just going to put some of the veggies in and show you how to wrap this. So you've got to work pretty quick because it's getting it's going to get kind of sticky. It does last for a little bit once you have it wrapped. It's just that it's kind of, you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to put some things in here. You could put lettuce in here, just a couple strings of lettuce in here. And you could put tofu, little cubes of tofu in there. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to do it like burrito style. Edges up there, this over here. And you can tuck it, and it's pretty easy. It's not tearing per se. So there you go. Okay, so you can dip that in something. Now, my kids are used to this and they love it. And actually, sometimes if they make dinner, this is what they're going to do. What we'll do for a little variety is usually the night before, I'll make some like brown rice noodles as our meal, and then I'll save some. And cold, you just put a few noodles in here. It provides texture. People love noodles. So you put that in there. A lot of times it's actually done in Korean spring rolls. So they usually use rice noodles. So these are just some things to think about. I have had people from class, some participants, you can take this to work and just have it in your desk at work, and then bring the kind of pieces that you want to put in it. And then at lunchtime, you just assemble it in the break room. So you can do that. So it's a really great carrier for the veggies, the stuff. And then you just have to have something with zing to give it flavor. So just giving you options there. Okay, so now you know wraps. You could do seaweed. I don't have any seaweed here. Seaweed is fabulous. And we're going to have seaweeds, the small snack ones. I don't have the big wrappers. They also are fragile. I can do on half of a seaweed wrap, like the half, I'll do a little bit of hummus, a little bit of maybe a flavoring, and then I'll put the veggies just a little less, and then I kind of roll it over like fish and chips in the UK, you know, the newspaper style. You just kind of roll it that way with it sticking out. You press seaweed together with water. So you just put a little tap of water where you want it, press like you're stopping a bleeding. You're about to put the Band-Aid on, and then you're just pressing, holding, and it will hold. It's a little more, it's on the delicate side, but you can put a little bit of hummus and flavoring that way. So seaweed's about 10 calories a sheet, and it's got, I think, 1 gram of fiber. It's only seaweed and maybe a little bit of sesame oil or something. That's it. Again, it's minimally processed. It does have a ton of wonderful like iodine, maybe a teeny bit of omega-3, teeny bit, not enough to really count, but I'm just saying it's really, it's a good diverse plant to be putting into your intestines to grow good stuff. So, okay. I want to get the rice going for the sushi, salmon sushi. So I'm going to get the boiling water there. I've got 1 cup of water, because when we use the minute, any of these kind of, these are just parboiled. And be careful, because I've seen on the shelf like little cups of the minute brown rice. They have salt and other things added to it. I'm like, really? You ruined it. So they have little 1 serving cups, and they didn't, So, I mean, this is probably cheaper in the long run anyways, but it's 1 to 1 because they cooked it a little bit, stopped it. It's called parboiled. Okay. And it's fine. So it's 1 cup water, 1 cup of the rice to make 2 cups. So we're making 2 cups for our salmon sushi bowls. So I want to talk about tofu. I know you've been dying to hear about that. Grab my papers here. Okay, so. Switch my gloves so just pick this off the ground. Sorry. Okay, so tofu there. So what's your guess? How many ingredients are in tofu? What's one of the ingredients?
Beans,
What's your just guess? Do you have any guesses?
beans,
Soybeans? Uh-huh. Is that what I heard, Tamara? Soybeans? Yep.
yes,
Water? Where's my rice? Here. No? Somewhere. Oh, here. Okay, dump that in. Turn it up a little bit. There we go. Turn it down. Okay, let me read it off. So here's my tofu. It is water, soybeans, calcium sulfate. That's it. It is curdled soybeans. The calcium sulfate is an enzyme to curdle it. What other block of something do you eat that's curdled milk? Cheese. Cheese is a cousin of tofu. Sort of. So, yeah, it's minimally processed, guys. Okay. It's just an enzyme with soybeans. Okay. And because it's calcium sulfate, it's actually high in calcium. So, it's got 2 grams of fiber per serving. So really good that way. And let me see, 10 grams of sodium is all, and 10% of calcium. So RDA. So I wanted to show you how it comes. So here's the brick, and I'm going to dump, there's a little bit of water around the edges. I'm going to go dump it out, but I wanted you to just really even see it so you're comfortable. So I'm just going to dump it out and take it out there. Okay, so yes, it's like a sponge. Yes, it's not the prettiest thing, but it's minimally processed. It's something that we're just not used to. Okay, it doesn't have much, it doesn't have any taste. It doesn't have an off taste, guys. Okay, and you know, like if I were to flip out raw ground beef, wouldn't you kind of be going, oh yeah? I mean, that's the start. This is the start. You don't eat this, okay? You can. It's not unsafe, but there's no reason you want to. You've got to add flavoring and you've got to change the texture, okay? Just like ground beef, okay? So now the water, there's quite a bit of water in here. So one of the tricks with tofu is typically, it depends upon how we're going to use it, but for most of the time when you're using this block tofu, okay, this is block tofu and it's extra firm. Extra firm means it has the least amount of water in it, even though to me, between firm and extra firm, I don't tell a difference. Soft, I do. Soft, I do. It has, so extra firm has the least amount of water, firm a little less, or a little more, sorry, and soft has the most. So soft, you would probably use in a soup. I don't use soft very often. If I use it, I might use it in a soup with noodles and broth and veggies, kale, spinach, that kind of thing. Is that here? Oh, it's a helicopter going over. I'm like, oh, okay. But there's also another tofu type that I'll pull out in a second that I use in soups more often. So this kind of tofu, I usually will saute or bake to get a crust on the outside. But first, you want to decide, you need to get out the water because it's going to be hard to make it firm and crispy when you got a lot of water in it. So what you do typically to get the water out is you can wrap it in a towel here or paper towels, but actually in the last year, oh, I've got a little peanut butter on this or something. I found a better way. So, and that is to go ahead and cut your kind of meatloaf slabs. Usually you're going to have cubes or slabs. So this is the way you'll start. So let me move this so I can show you. But I would take And this is what I do. I do 1 to 2 blocks a week for myself and my kids. So take a towel, a dish towel, because we're going to try and soak off the water. So I'm going to lay them out. If I had another block, I just lay out more. Just wrap this over so that I've got a level here. Then I take a cutting board, put that solidly on top. And then I take dishes from the cupboard and set on top. And in a half an hour, I've squeezed out enough water that I can then start working with it. Half an hour is fine. Okay. So this works fine. You can wrap it in a block, but I'm telling you what, you're always going to cut it. So you might as well, because of course I have more surface area exposed now. So then once you have the water taken off of it, you want to decide, do I want to just saute it? So it's going to be a tasteless, crusty slab, okay? Which is fine. I do that a lot when I'm lazy, okay? Because then I'll add a sauce like the hoisin sauce on top, or I'll make a peanut sauce, or I'll make, you know, whatever, something or in it. But you wouldn't just eat slabs of just sauteed. The other choice is to marinate it. I can marinate it just like you would meat to give it flavor. We're not really trying to break it down the fibers like meat. We're just trying to give it flavor. So I can marinate that. And that's what we're doing tonight. Tonight, I've already marinated some tofu for us to try. So let me take you through. Oh, I didn't start my timer. So we are probably, let's say I have 5 minutes left. There we go. Okay, so to make the barbecue marinade, I'm just going to show you real quick. This is just a homemade marinade. So for barbecue, we've got apple juice concentrate, or it's not apple juice concentrate, apple juice vinegar, sorry, apple juice vinegar, apple cider vinegar, a little pepper I had in there, and a couple shakes of salt. And then I have some honey here. Now I know this is a lot of honey. We're marinating, so you're not going to end up eating all of this. I do have vinegar in there, so the vinegar is going to offset a little bit of the sweetness, but it's still sugar. That's still quite a bit of sugar. So, and the seasonings are cumin, garlic powder, chili powder, and chili powder, make sure you're not using Tones or McCormick because they have salt added. So this is just another brand. And I think I have paprika too. So we're going to stir that up. And I could do a jalapeno. Hy-Vee didn't have any jalapenos when I was there the other day. So we're not going to add that. But jalapeno, you just cut in half, take out the seeds, kind of like, and the pithy parts, kind of, you can use a spoon, just be careful. The jalapeno itself is not super hot, but the seeds can be. Okay, I had to use one time the eye wash here, thanks to a jalapeno, okay? So don't touch your eyes after doing that. So for the most part, it's pretty safe, but you just chop it up finely and put it in here. And then you take the tofu, and either you can take a baking sheet and lay it out and then drizzle the marinade over it. And then I'll put it in the refrigerator, or technically you could put it on the counter. Again, this is tofu. It's not unsafe. It's only if you cross-contaminate it somehow that it gets unsafe. But then you'll flip it, like you just flip it a couple times throughout the next couple hours. So what I did here, instead of using a pan, is I just used a baggie. I don't like doing this at home because I don't like wasting all these baggies, but because it's hard to rinse this out so that you can use it again. So, but you just work it. You just work it a couple times to get the marinade on it. And we're going to cook these up. So it just, if you have a half an hour, if you have a couple hours, it's great. If you do it overnight, that's great. It's fine. This is tofu, guys. So it's real easy to work with. Now the other one, I did more of a typical kind of Asian with a little bit of the Bragg's coconut aminos in there. I used like half a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil because that gives it the Asian kind of taste to it. It's really a nice, you just need a little bit, just a couple drops of it in there. And I did use where is the top? Here it is. I did use a little bit of this in there too. So it's some ginger. So it's real simple marinade. And this one you can see pretty much sucked all of it up. It wasn't too much liquid, but it soaked it all up. Now this one, the thing about tofu is you don't technically have to cook it, okay? There's nothing unsafe about it. It's just whether you like that texture or not. So tonight, you can taste the tofu just like this. And I've had some people in class that are like, I like that a lot. I'm going to use that, which is fine. I just want you to understand it. You may go, no way. That's fine. But you could actually cook this up too. Okay, you can just put this in cubes in a pan and just let it saute, then flip it a couple times, let it saute, and you'll get it browned on most of the sides. And then you could use that throughout the week, just tossing it into wraps and bowls and, different things. You could just, eat a couple bites of it with your roasted veggies. So, but just keep in mind, this marinade is a very typical, it's got a, kind of a soy sauce, zingy, flavor to it. So if you like Asian food and flavors, this one you might like too a lot. So we're going to cook up the tofu real quick. I think I'm done. Let's stop this. Okay, so yes, I know you don't like the water that I have there. So I'm just going to do my trick with the olive oil, actually. I prefer these pans cook so quick. So I'm just going to put a little bit. All you need to do. Okay, so I'm just going to shake off the marinade because we don't really want water on it. We just want it to cook. So we're just going to put that down. Now this is going to turn kind of blackened. It's going to look like it's burnt. It's not. It's the sugar caramelizing. Okay, so I've made this many times, and I hold my breath because I'm like, it looks burnt, but it's not. It's not. Everybody eats it. Just so you know, too, when you're cooking it, it does get pretty dark because of the sugar, the honey. Now with tofu, it's really about finding out what you like for the texture. So, you can even get it crispier than what we're doing here, okay, today. One way is to bake it, okay? And if you want it even crispier than baked, you toss it in a little bit of cornstarch is what you'll read online. So in the recipes. The cornstarch just really absorbs the moisture, and then you get like a softer center, not a soft, but a softer center. So, so that, just, be open to it, play around with it. My mother-in-law is Filipino, Seventh-day Adventist. She's 94, I think. And her and her husband, they're both alive, both living together. Their first mission, they were missionary Seventh-day Adventists from the Philippines, grew up, and their first assignment was Laos. So that was 60 years ago, guys. Can you imagine what she's learned? So she taught me about tofu because Seventh-day Adventist is vegan. Okay, if you're a true Seventh-day Adventist, no fish. Okay. The highest fish per capita place in the world is the Philippines. They eat no fish. So, but it's part of their belief spiritually. So, but she has taught me a lot. I've seen her make raisins from grapes. She can make tofu from soybeans. She doesn't anymore, but she can do that. She can roll 400 spring rolls in one sitting. I've seen her do it many times. So, but tofu, she taught me early on, and my kids have been exposed to it. My kids love junk food like any normal 20-year-old do, but they're used to tofu. My son would eat tofu, no problem if I made it. He would not balk at it. Okay. So he likes the flavoring of this on his tofu. So It's just something you get used to, and it's then you're over this mystery of it. Benjamin Franklin loved it. The Han Dynasty used it supposedly. You know, it's just there. It's been with us. It's just not been part of our culture here in the U.S. So just, you know, try it out. Sometimes the first way to try it out is to go to a Thai restaurant. We do have some really good Thai restaurants around here. And a true Thai restaurant is going to do a lot of fresh produce. And their food is spicy and sweet. So that might be, you know, you can just order tofu with any of your dishes. So I'm going to cook that up and start the salmon sushi and throw that together. I know we're just right at the hour. So I'm going to quickly throw together the salmon sushi. So it is really quick. So let me grab my ingredients here. I've got the salmon already here. So I just, let's see, salmon's here. So I use a brand, Wild Planet. I forget who it was that likes tuna, but I would use Safe Catch. I know Walmart has it. I'd be used to, maybe it's just the one over there that I go to for these ingredients. But Safe Catch tests every fish for its mercury level. It's the mercury I'm consumed with tuna. I love tuna, but I have it maybe once a year, twice a year, because I know too much about how much mercury it has. So the bigger, older fish have more mercury. So that's tuna. Salmon is not as high, so salmon's safe. So, but Safe Catch, Wild Planet are really good brands. Okay, so we use that. There it is, Wild Planet. So I'm going to, let me put this together in a little bit bigger bowl. So I'm going to put together, I've got 2 cups of carrots here. And grab another glove here. And the rice, I've got some rice that I cooked earlier, but you can see here that cooked fine there in our 10 minutes. But I have some here. I throw that in there. Oh, I want to heat up real quick. I've got some rice vinegar here, and I'm going to put a little sugar in there to make like sushi rice. So sushi rice is a little sweetened. So I'm just going to heat that up and then stir that in. And I think we're pretty close on our, getting close there. I'm actually doing a pretty good job. I normally get these really blackened. So when you get it a little more blackened, it will get a little more crispy on the outside. So it's all, you know, this is still not got a firm crust on the outside. So I'm going to try and get it a little bit more so. So I've got my salmon here that I just fluffed up with a fork. For the dressing, I'm going to make that real quick. I've got the coconut aminos there. I've got a little sriracha. Okay. Gives it lots of nice zing. And I've got a lemon. Remember, you can just squeeze a lemon or use the tongs to squeeze. We just need like 2 tablespoons there. So that's our sauce. Stir my rice vinegar here with the sugar, get that dissolved. Stir that in. And I probably should have just added the rice first, but the carrots are going to get it. So, okay. So I'm going to do this. And then I've got some cucumber. And I'm going to show you real quick cucumber. Okay, let's just, I think we're probably done here. I'm going to turn it off and call it a day. And my cucumber, what happened to my cucumber? My cucumber, there it is. Okay. So cucumber, just to show you the cucumber here, I want to show you another kind of fun trick. You can have cucumber with the peel on or off. But if you're like, I really don't like it on, Teresa. So here's a way that you can kind of go in between. So you just do stripes with the peeler. And then when you cut it up, you get this nice kind of a little bit of the green, which is nice to see when you're tossing it into things. So I just cut those up into smaller pieces so that we can toss that there. So we've got our veggie. We've got our protein, the fish, really great there. And we're going to top it off. I'm just going to stir this real quick here with our sauce with the lemon and the coconut aminos and the sriracha. So, oh, what am I missing? I'm missing one key ingredient, seaweed. Seaweed snacks. Okay, seaweed snacks, guys. This has got fiber in it, 1 gram. It's 25 calories, and it's got, it's got trace of all kinds of good minerals. So I took 12, this is 12 sheets that I just crumbled up. When you crumble up seaweed, it makes a mess. It sticks to your fingers and, so just, do it and then wash your hands. So, and when the kids, my daughter, actually, she takes one of these to school and eats it for her lunch. She loves it. So it's if you love chips, try this out as an alternative for chips. I'm just saying, being open-minded. And those that are here, if you want to take one and just see what it's like. So it's really it's minimally processed again. It's ingredients are seaweed, canola oil, sesame oil, sea salt. Okay, so just something to think about. So there we go. Oops. Whoops. It provides texture. It provides nutrition, some fiber. Just try it out. If you want to skip it, you can skip it. You can adjust the recipe. I want you to make it so that you love it. The sauce too, a lot of people really like that combination of the lemon and the sriracha and the coconut aminos. So see if that's something that you like. So I brought this on picnics. It's real easy to whip together and, feed everybody. So we're going to try that out tonight. You can put some avocado if you want on that too. So all kinds of different things. So we've got super easy, super quick to do. You have the carrots that are already shaved, the cucumbers easy to chop up. You've got the canned salmon, crumble up the seaweed. The rice cooks in 10 minutes and you got meal. So really easy. We're going to do wraps. You guys are going to be able to make your own wrap, colored wrap with the hoisin sauce. Hoisin-like sauce, and we've got tofu to try out. So yes. So, and you don't have to try the tofu. It's fine if you don't. If you want to wait and do it at a restaurant, so that's fine, no problem. So next week, chocolate and some 2 really key principles that you'll really like. How they make meal planning easier and just putting together things so that you're reassured that you're doing it you're going to get a healthy mix of things. So